Taking my life seriously. That's where the key was. I began to pivot, looking at, okay, what do I have? What can I do? How do I get myself in a different environment? Because I knew that putting myself in a different room was going to change everything. And learning something that I haven't learned before was going to change everything. And so that's when, like, I know it's always been him because I was never pursuing it. I never dreamed of it. I never dreamed to be this model and to be this actress. Like, God has called me to these spaces. So putting him first has always kept me on a grounded level. Right. Cosmetology school, like, to become an esthetician and build my own salon and like serve and do that, like have a whole brand. Like, I wrote it down from beginning to end. How I know now, like, oh, if only you knew what you knew or when you had to know, right? This is something that I've already given you. Like, you already have what you're searching outside of yourself for.
316 collection.
Oh my God.
And I think I saw you on a billboard. I'm pretty sure.
But you know what's crazy is audition process, and it was time to pay, right? And I was all like,
she said, who gonna pay for it?
I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna, now it's not my time. It was a breaking point for me because I felt like I had lost everything in this season of my life. Like, I feel like God was rewriting everything of what I thought my future was going to look like. Her brand and her craft. And through her, I got my first paid opportunity too.
Come on, Cyndi.
And so,
hey, look, shout out to Cyndi.
Man, shout out
Cyndi
to
Brown.
Cyndi.
Listen.
She's such a pillar. Like, seriously, it has been tough now that I'm navigating the spaces of being a signed actress, booking, and then going into a season where you're not booking. Like that, of course I want to be great, but I was like, I want to change. Like, I want to develop. I want to become who God's created me to become something in what he's already given me. One thing I knew, because this is when I became a knowledge, seeker. Like, I was really seeking him, but I was also seeking like how to be successful, like feeding myself like great podcasts, listening to like Tony Gaskins, RC Blake's, like really just pouring into me and really getting a new level of understanding of life in general.
Taking your process seriously.
Yeah, taking the process seriously, taking my life seriously. That's where the key was. It wasn't instant.
Okay.
Because some people, you think you invest and you think you're going to get it right back. It wasn't instant. It wasn't even tangible of the blessing wasn't even tangible of what I got back. What I got back was more purpose. What I got back was community. What I got back was more opportunities. Like, that was what came out of it too. So I was ready to invest, and I didn't let nothing stop me. And showing up, not making any excuses for yourself.
Being present.
I may be nervous, I may be scared, I may be, but I'm going to continue to do it. And so just one foot in front of the other, still showing up, still taking yourself seriously, taking the craft seriously. I think that breeds something in you as far as like what is needed to continue out this journey, because that actually never stops.
Pop out in it all black, pull up looking like the Chalo.
Hey y'all, what's good? My name is Tyrell. I'm the host of Perspective. Now you might be asking, like, what is perspective? What is this all about? Well, perspective is a space where you and I take life-changing principles, apply them to our daily lives to transform the world around us. And so I get an opportunity to be able to release amazing content around helping you expand your perspective, adding tools to your toolbox, breaking the box of limitations that you and I were born into. And so my hope is by you engaging, you connecting with perspective, you're able to go out and transform the world around you. Any highlights of the day, anything stood out, or like, really, did this happen today? Like anything like that?
Listen, my day started off really fast actually, because I had a callback for a commercial, and I needed a chicken tender because it was for a chicken restaurant. And believe it or not, there are no chicken restaurants open before 10 a.m. And my callback is at 10:15. So I was going to do my callback at work in the meeting space. I had to be at work at 10, callbacks at 10:15, and I needed to find a piece of chicken. And so I'm like driving to work, and I don't know why I didn't think anything would be open the night before, because I could have just did it the night before. But Cane's was closed. Wingstop was closed. Chick-fil-A, they don't they only serving breakfast. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I'm like on my way to work and I'm like, you know what? Whataburger. Shout out to Whataburger. They came in clutch. Yeah.
Whataburger, yeah, because they be 24 hours, right?
24 hours. So I got me my chicken 3-strip, and was able to do my callback.
Wow. So you got a call back and you just had to act. Like, not act as in like acting, but you just had to go figure that out.
Yeah, I just had to figure that out. Like, I had to figure out to make sure that I had what I needed for the callback because it was for Golden Chick. It's for commercial for Golden Chick.
Wow.
And so I've already submitted the audition. The callback is the second round of auditions. And they expect you to do the same actions you did in your first audition in the callback. So, and what's crazy is my callback's at 10:15. They had me waiting until like 10:42 before I actually got on camera. It'd be like that though. Like, you're rushing, you're trying to be on time, you're trying to be punctual, and then like casting is like on a whole different type of time than you.
And evidently, perspective setup is on a different time as well.
Right.
We ain't gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
But that's wild, and that makes sense. You get an opportunity in a call, you got to just be ready.
You do.
Ready to act.
You do.
What's good, Perspective fam? Look, this is Tyrell. Perspective is a place where you and I take life-changing perspective to transform the world around you. Our guest today is a rising talent in the entertainment industry, seamlessly transitioning from the world of modeling to acting. With an eye for detail and a passion for storytelling, this young lady has discovered a newfound love for performance that has lighted a thrilling journey in film. Eager to explore diverse roles and expand her artistic range, she brings a fresh perspective and infectious enthusiasm to every project. As she continues to hone her craft, this young lady is excited to share her gifts with the world and leave a lasting mark on the screen. Shout out to IMDB.
I love
Because your boy
that.
didn't write that.
I really love
although
that.
I probably could have written it. I'm not taking the time. Well, y'all help me welcome, without further ado, Mashayla Barnes. What's good, Mashayla?
Hello. Thank you.
What's
Thank you
up?
for such an intro.
Absolutely, yes. It's probably honestly a little dated, y'all. There's probably even more. We'll let her share that. But yeah, thanks for pulling up and hanging out. We finally made it.
Finally made it. Man, our schedules and just the busyness of life to get here to this moment is the grace of God.
The grace.
The grace.
All the grace.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, diving into a bit of just like what your world is for those of you who may not be familiar with Mashayla, very gifted, as we said in her intro, but very authentic as well. I think it's very rare you come across individuals that are very aware of their abilities, their talents, their gifts, but also be very, authentic and real and genuine. And that's what's great about you. I think it also comes across with those who you work with behind the scenes and on screen as well. So I think that's definitely to your benefit. But talk to us a little bit about your background, like where you're from, where you grew up, and then take us into where did the interest in modeling begin? So take us from where you grew up and all that.
Absolutely, it's been a journey. So born in South Bend, Indiana, but raised here in Texas. I think we moved to Texas when I was like 6 years old. Been in Texas over like 18 years now. So Texas is definitely the place has shaped me completely. And, raised in the church. Faith has always been a foundation with me and my family. I come from a big family, 4 sisters. We all, raised together here in Texas, attending church, Potter's House North, as you know.
Shout out.
I think this is back when church was at the Dallas Hockey Arena.
Yes, the Dallas, where the Dallas Stars.
Exactly.
Play.
So that's where
Dr.
church
Pepper
was.
Arena.
Dr. Pepper Arena. That's where it was. And we were leaving church one day, and 2 wonderful ladies stopped us while we were walking in the parking garage. And that was Cyndi. Shout out to Cyndi. She's a photographer. And Jay, she was the makeup artist. They had seen me and they asked me, hey, do you model? And I have never, ever thought about modeling. I was young, just like in my own little world, not really thinking, of gifts and things that, I could really do, so they seen me, and that question and that connection planted the first seed of how I started modeling, because that's where my first shoot came from.
Wow.
That collaboration. And so ever since then, that seed was like, it just kind of like grew into other people seeing the same thing, and I was just always called to it.
Wow. So hold on. So they stopped you in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Just walking like, hey.
Just walking. Yeah. They seen something in me that I didn't even see in myself.
Wow. So what went from that moment there? Take us from that initial interaction. I'm sure y'all exchanged information and all that. That moment to like the very first opportunity or call, or what did that look like? How did that come about?
Yeah, the very first opportunity and call came from the same people. Cyndi was developing her brand and her craft, and she was using me. She was calling me, and I think through her, I got my first paid opportunity too.
Come on, Cyndi.
And so,
hey, look! Shout out to Cyndi.
Man, shout out
Cyndi
to
Brown.
Cyndi.
Listen,
she's such a pillar. Like, seriously.
Hey, and she did my 23rd birthday photo shoot.
Oh yeah.
Yep. My 23rd birthday photo shoot. Hey.
Yeah, she's amazing. She's amazing.
Shout out to Cyndi.
Yeah. So it was from there, things started to really develop for me, and she was developing me as a model. Like, honestly, being in front of the camera, more and more, you start to get more confident and things of that nature. So that's how it started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I think I saw years ago, I don't know if I was in Stonebriar Mall in Frisco, at 316 Collection.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I saw you on a billboard. I'm pretty sure.
I was. And it's they're moved to the Galleria now. Mm-hmm. So I'm there now. But what's crazy is that shoot happened in 2019, mm-hmm. and their store Billboard opened up in fall of 2023. So They were still using that same photo. So that photo from 2019 was being used in 2023. Mm-hmm. And seeing that on a billboard, man, the timing of when I found out of that billboard was so crazy too, because it was right when I was going into Expo, when I was like really putting myself in like a new room to elevate my craft. And I found out that I was in the mall, and I was like, that's just God sending confirmation that I'm on the right path and that he's doing something amazing in this.
Wow. And I know oftentimes when folks see, glimmer of highlights, let's say call it social media, or someone can see, maybe known you in high school, then see you in the future. Sometimes it feels like we kind of just popped out of nowhere is what some people might think.
Yeah.
Might think that we just got, lucky or got an opportunity and a chance that came out of nowhere, and then we didn't have to do anything for it. You mentioned the Expo process earlier, going from being spotted in a parking lot to getting an opportunity with a major clothing brand. Probably, honestly, arguably one of the number one faith-based clothing lines globally.
Yes, right? Shout out 316 Collection.
Yeah, 316. Yeah, shout out to Jalen. Mm-hmm. And so, what kind of behind-the-scenes process that no one really many may not know about have you had to navigate to go from, even when you thought like, okay, could this be a thing? Walk us through what was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, so like I said, like with modeling, I was always called to it. I didn't really see it as a gift to steward until I got more mature. Until I reached a point in my life where I was like, okay, I needed change. Like I was dealing with some friction within like my purpose and like what that actually looked like. And that's when God really started to reveal to me, this is something that I've already given you. Like you already have what you're searching outside of yourself for. And so with that calling, like ever since, I started modeling with Cyndi, building my portfolio naturally, not working with a whole lot of photographers, but just working with quality. Because I'm not like, Cyndi really set the tone. She really set the tone.
It's hard to go back from
It's hard to go back. And people know that too. And like you could, it was something that I was aware of too, of the quality that, I've shot with before. You kind of like, okay, no, that's not really fitting with, my brand or my aesthetic. So I'm not going to go that route. So I didn't really work with a lot of people. I just worked with very few quality people. Right.
Quality over quantity.
And so with that being the start of my portfolio, it kind of set the tone. And my portfolio just started building, and photographers would reach out, or like, I would, other brands would reach out to work with me and stuff like that. But it was just kind of like here and there.
Wow.
It was never like something that was just like consistently, because I wasn't doing my part. There was a responsibility that I needed to do to take it to another level. So it was just, I feel like that was God's grace over, you know, my calling too, is like continuing to show me, you know, give me hints, you know, show me until I was like, okay, God, you have my attention.
And what were some of those hints that kind of came about, whether it's moments, family, I mean, what were some of those hints?
Just my work and people, you know, loving my work and being inspired by it. And, you know, me kind of just taking it really lightly and casually. You know, when other people would take it like, girl, like, this is amazing what you're doing. Like, your work is really dope. And I was just like, you know, it's just something I do. And so it wasn't until I reached a point in my life where I needed change. And I was like, I want to get to another level. And it was a breaking point for me, because I felt like I had lost everything in this season of my life. Like, I feel like God was rewriting everything of what I thought my future was going to look like.
Wow.
And so it took that breaking point for me to turn inward and turn to God to say, okay, what is my life supposed to be like? Like, okay, what do I need to do to actualize my potential and really work the purpose that you've given me? And I had a plan and everything. So I knew, one thing I knew, because this is when I became a knowledge, you know, seeker. Like, I was really seeking him, but I was also seeking like how to be successful, like feeding myself like great podcasts, listening to like Tony Gaskins, RC Blake's, like really just pouring into me and really getting a new level of understanding of life in general.
Taking your process seriously.
Yeah, taking the process seriously, taking my life seriously. That's where the key was. And so I began to pivot into looking at, okay, what do I have? What can I do? How do I get myself in a different environment? Because I knew that putting myself in a different room was going to change everything. And learning something that I haven't learned before was going to change everything. And so that's when I had seen the Expo opportunity. But I also was looking at going to cosmetology school, like to become an esthetician and build my own salon and like serve and do that, like have a whole brand. Like, I wrote it down from beginning to end. Wow.
So like, what was that tension like? Where, I mean, are we talking like senior year of high school time frame?
No,
like, what time is this?
This was, so I graduated 2017. This was 2022.
Okay.
Because I had success in modeling. Like, you know, I had the 316 and worked with big brands. You know, I had some success. But I became stagnant in that, like, because I feel like I wasn't breaking past a new threshold of like success. Like, okay, cool. It's here and there, but like, what am I doing with it? So I'm just grateful that modeling was always pursuing me, but I was never pursuing it, right? And so when I got this revelation of, you know, the Expo and these different opportunities, I remember bringing it to God. And it's like, okay, God, I have two ways I can go. I can go to esthetician school, you know, get my license, open up this salon, teach others, and then, or I can go to Expo and do something with modeling.
Right.
Right. And he told me, I remember he didn't tell me one or the other. He said, do what's in front of you. I heard that very clearly, right? And the Expo was in front of me. And I remember that hearing also in this that you never know where he's going to reroute back that dream, reroute back, you know, this vision that you have. Because think about, like, he'll give me visions, but like they're so far like ahead, or I can't really see the plans of the process. But so yeah, I did the Expo.
Okay.
And I went in with the mindset of, I just want to become. It's not really like, because, you know, the Expo, the outcome is you get signed, you get placed, you get booked, you get money, right? But for me, I wasn't really going to Expo for the attachment of the outcome, for a specific and desired outcome. Of course, I want to be great,
right,
but I was like, I want to change. Like, I want to develop. I want to become who God's created me to become something in what he's already given me.
Sounds like you were trying to go through like a more of a transformational process.
Exactly.
Than like just checking the box just to get to the next step.
Exactly.
And what happened, I think we were talking one time about this, and there was like a young lady, there was a whole story behind like the woman that was spotted you, or what was the background on the Expo and getting into the Expo? Because I think there was
so the Expo was opportunity. I was searching and found J3 Productions. Shout out to Willie. Shout out to J3. That's my community. And it was through this opportunity that I was able to link with J3 and become a part of this community where we would go through the expo. There was workshops leading up to the expo. And in these workshops, you're acting, you're reading a cold read, you're reading a monologue, you're doing acting classes, and you're also doing runway workshops. Like you're being equipped to go through this big convention so you can be scouted and seen by bigger agencies to represent you. So
dope. Now, some people may not be aware of like the work ethic, the discipline, the reps, the amount of hours one has to put in going through like an expo process. Talk to us about what that was like, just the grind of the process before you got to clearly the very end and what came out of it.
Wow, yeah.
But yeah, what was the process like?
Well, first and foremost, you have to be ready to invest. You have to be ready to invest into you. And I remember like a year prior before going into Expo, I had seen the opportunity, but I backed out of it. I had went all the way through the callbacks and the audition process, and it was time to pay, right? And I was all like...
She said, who gonna pay for it?
I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna... Yeah, now's not my time. And so
y'all got layaway.
I wasn't ready, but I wasn't, I didn't have the revelation of like, I'm worth this investment. My dreams are worth this investment. You know, I'm worth it. Right. Because I had never invested in myself that much before. And it was scary. It was really scary. But circling back another year later, I was like, I'm not going to let anything get in my way. I'm not going to let anything stop me, not even doubt, not even my resources, whatever it's looking like. I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. And so I did it. Yes. I did it. Yes. And man, the blessing that came about, it wasn't instant. Okay. Because some people, you think you invest and you think you're going to get it right back. It wasn't instant. It wasn't even tangible of the blessing wasn't even tangible of what I got back. What I got back was more purpose. What I got back was community. What I got back was more opportunities. Yeah. Like that was what came out of it too. So I was ready to invest and I didn't let nothing stop me. And showing up, not making any excuses for yourself. Being present, taking it seriously. I was like, I'm investing this money. I'm going to show up to every workshop. Absolutely. I'm taking this very seriously. I may be nervous. I may be scared. I may be, but I'm going to continue to do it. And so just one foot in front of the other, still showing up, still taking yourself seriously, taking the craft seriously. I think that breeds something in you as far as like what is needed to continue out this journey, because that actually never stops. You're absolutely right. And I think you mentioned like there was not immediate results or immediate success. And at times where we can impose our timeline on these kind of perceived outcomes we think we should have. And sometimes we trick ourselves into thinking I can work myself to deserving to get something. It's almost like a prideful assumption to think I'm going to take 1 and 2, 3 steps. I'm going to do 1 and 2, 3 things. And this is going to be the outcome I get because I worked my tail off. Right. It's not to dismiss the work that was placed and the sacrifices, but there's a lot of folks out there who can get very distracted and also just discouraged. Yeah. Because what they thought should happen did not happen. Exactly. And because it didn't happen, they disqualify and cancel out their own future, the next opportunity, right? So how did you navigate potentially maybe seeing, I don't know, other peers or like, what was it like at the end of the expo? Like, okay, I bet I went through it. Like, let's go. Right. How did you navigate that tension? Honestly, I think since I was so like, since the journey itself was so personal to me as far as like just becoming and transforming, I wasn't looking at others' success and their timeline and comparing it to mine. I was like, my time is going to come. What's for me is for me. Because I feel like with my portfolio and like just like my journey in modeling itself, there's been like this quiet confidence because I know it's always just been God. Like, I know it's always been him because I was never pursuing it. I never dreamed of it. I never dreamed to be this model and to be this actress. Like, God has called me to these spaces. So with my awareness in that, I feel like with him, putting him first has always kept me on a grounded level.
Right.
So navigating that wasn't tough for me. It wasn't tough. I would say this year has been tough. And now 2 years later has been tough now that I'm navigating the spaces of being a signed actress, booking, and then going into a season where you're not booking. Like it's a new space.
Wow.
But that's been the most tough for me.
And that's a great transition there, getting into, from the modeling, how that teed up into film. Talk about some of the work or brands that you've been able to work with over the last, couple of years when you went from modeling into film. So talk about some of the brands you worked with, and then what was that transition like? Yes.
So, I actually, while I was doing my workshops, Willie, the owner and mother agent of J3 Productions, he was submitting his roster of models to his clients. And so I was actually making some of my money back before I even went to Expo. So I was being booked just based off my portfolio that I already built by brands that were his clients, like Sacred Heart and HBCU Collegiate line. Like, they're amazing, beautiful line. I booked them and I'm on their storefront now. They're in Dallas too. Years later, they're opening their store and using my pictures. So there's this kind of repetition or some kind of
it sounds like a little bit of rhythm of reciprocity. Like, you invested and you start to receive on those returns.
Absolutely.
Even maybe before you even thought you would.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. And so modeling still being worked. Acting, that was a new thing. Yeah. That was a new thing. I was such a baby. I'm still a baby in acting.
Nothing wrong.
But Expo definitely was like a seed. Because acting was one of those requirements to go through Expo, to get out there. You have to do a cold read, you have to do a monologue, and you have to audition. And that was so new for me because I'd never done anything like that.
So take us to your first, drop us in, this is a movie scene right now. Okay. It's like the autobiography, right, of Mashayla, right, in the beginnings of acting, right? Right. You already got the Oscars, you did all the 20 years from now, all the things, you had all the accolades. Take us to paint the scene of the very first audition. How'd you prepare? How'd you feel? And what were the results of the audition, right?
Oh my gosh.
Take us there.
My very first audition was actually an in-person audition. And man, can I remember what it was for? I think it was for an independent film, series, it wasn't a romantic comedy. It might've been a drama. And I can't remember. I just remember how I felt in the process.
Yeah. In the process, even how it came about, if it was if there was an agent involved or not, and how it got on your radar. And then just when you found out you were going to be auditioning for it, this is real. Yeah.
I think this first one was from my manager, Willie. He had sent out the mass email saying, hey, there's this opportunity, in-person auditions for this role, show up, right? So I remember getting the audition and getting the script, and I didn't really prepare. I was read over a script. I didn't really work it how I know now. If only you knew what you knew when you knew, or when you had to know, right?
Right.
But I remember feeling so nervous. Oh my gosh, my hands were sweating. I had my friend with me, and they were encouraging me. They're like, you got this, right? So I go in, and there's people at a table, and I do the audition. And I would just remember walking out I totally messed that up.
Oh no.
I remembered my lines, but I didn't deliver the way that, you could have. I knew I could have if I knew more. But I think those are the building blocks. You have to get out there. You have to
listen. Anyone's first of anything. You take any person who has been great at anything. The very first of it, rough.
Oh my gosh.
Right? I was watching an episode of Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett shameless plug. If y'all haven't seen that episode, you should go watch it. I was selected out of like 6 million people, at random 6.5 million people to have a conversation with him. Yeah, it was crazy. Wow. We were on Zoom. The call was supposed to be 10 minutes. It ended up being 24 minutes. Crazy stuff. So watching an episode of his, and he talked about his very first podcast that he created. He set up a little camera, a little recorder, and then was just talking through things. And he's like, it was awful.
Wow.
It was awful. And anybody who's done something in the very beginnings, you know, you always see that progression and where you grow from. But it's called humble beginnings for a reason. You building character.
Man.
You building character.
You building character.
So jump into like a present day. Walk us through what preparation looks like for an audition. And what would you say your current like audition load looks like?
Oh, it's gotten really busy. One, I have an agency that represents me well. I've been auditioning a lot. Yeah. Okay. The audition load is great, but auditioning is good because when you get an audition, that's basically the work, because what the clients and the casting is seeing is so many headshots, and if they select headshot, they're like, send her the audition.
Wow. Hold up. So let's back it up. When they see the headshot,
you get in the room.
Literally from the headshot is the start of the audition.
Exactly.
You ain't even there yet.
You're not even there yet, but you've already probably surpassed thousands of other headshots.
Pressure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. If you fit the specs and you fit what they're looking for, you know, curly hair, you know.
Ethnic diversity, because that's the thing about, I think, to your advantage too, like even they can't put a thumb on, like if it was a role and you need to be a certain ethnicity, you're not just one, right?
Exactly.
Like
I can play multiple.
Me is just, you can... I mean, when I used to have long curly hair, I used to have clients like, you Dominican? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
That's all you get. My roles would be, I'd be that same backup. No, but but you have a very diverse look, so I can imagine. But from the headshot, auditioning.
Yes, you get the audition. Once you get the audition, you submit, and then the callback is the next process, and it's basically they're like slimming down the bunch, and so. When you book, it's amazing. You book, like you basically beat all these other talents and you fit exactly what they're looking for. And there's so many other variables when it comes to booking, because if they have like a multi-person casting, you need to be able to fit and mesh with the aesthetic of how other people look. So that's why you have to kind of, take not booking so personal, but when you book, it's very personal, because it's like, this aligns exactly with who I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
So with the early stage and your preparation, talk to us, like, what's preparation look like now? You headshot, boom. You're about to audition. Take us through what preparation is like nowadays. Yeah.
Now, reading thoroughly. You have to read the audition thoroughly, like read exactly what they're looking for. Reading it multiple times. Printing it out. Sometimes I'll print out my side so I can have it on paper. I self-tape from home, so I just have my little setup. It's nothing extravagant, honestly. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Look, all you need is something minimal nowadays.
Like, it's very minimal, because I just know, like, all the extra, it's like, okay. But it's been working for me. So I just have like my tripod and my ring lights, and I just do exactly what the audition is asking. Depending on what the material is, if it's a little extensive, or, sometimes I may need a reader, I'll just call one of my sisters or friends to come help me read for the audition. But, that's pretty much my process looking like. But you get better the more that you do it. You learn more the more that you do it, and the more that, you're kind of working that muscle. Because when I first started doing self-tapes, it was really difficult. Like, I couldn't figure out like how to give them what they're asking for. Like, they're very detailed. Sometimes some of these auditions is like, they're asking for a lot. Right. I'm like, y'all want what?
Right. For real.
Man.
All these requests? What y'all doing?
So many requests. They're so specific. That's why following directions is so key, because they put so much in the directions and the details. And if you look over it and you don't do something, you can miss your shot. But yeah.
Wow. When it comes to family, right? Your parents, your tribe of support. What was that like initially, getting into modeling, even into now with acting? I've heard all kinds of mixed stories, right? Family supported, family didn't support, or what's it been like with your parents specifically pursuing this career?
Very supportive. Very supportive. It's like they see it in me already. It's like, Mashayla's just doing her thing. She's just doing what she do. Like, and I think that keeps me grounded too. Like, it's not like they're like overly like, oh my gosh, like they're very happy for me, very supportive when I reach milestones and when I reach new levels and I get that booking. They're clapping for me. They're supporting. They come through when I need help with an audition. They come through when my car broke down and I needed to be in Austin on set for a commercial. My sister drove me to Austin and stayed out there with me so I can film a commercial. And so, like, just them coming through in my times of need and, like, with them not even really seeing, like, the complete vision. Because sometimes the weight of your calling isn't their weight. And so them still showing up for me, like, means the absolute world to me. Absolute world to me. So they're so supportive.
Wow. Drove you to Austin.
Drove me to Austin, man. Stayed out there with me for the weekend.
Look.
I filmed that commercial.
Wow. Now, who was that commercial for?
So that commercial was for USAA insurance.
Come on, insurance.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, I think you told me something about USAA. I don't know if there was a timeline in the past to where there's some things you might have either like declared or prayed about or something that would happen. And then like, talk to me about,
oh my gosh.
About that.
Yeah. So before, going through Expo, I'm a huge writer, so I write like just like journal prompts, like, you know, where I'm at in that season of my life. I write affirmations. I write for my future self. I just write. Yeah. And so there was a part in my journal where I wrote of what I wanted to book specifically, and half of that list I booked. I wrote down I wanted to book a shoe commercial, an insurance commercial, hair, makeup, skin. What else? A medical commercial. And I booked Baylor Medical School. I booked Home Depot. It was a home appliance. I booked insurance with USAA, and with modeling, I booked hair, fashion. And so it's just crazy to see, like, if you're aware and you're paying attention, you're seeing like you're literally living in things that you prayed for. And so, yeah, that was amazing. Yeah.
Wow. I think it's so pivotal for many people who, even if they don't do that now, to log things, to journal things,
absolutely,
to make audio notes, right? Just that way, it's a testament and a milestone. And it's something to really look back on, right? It's also something to give faith to, you know, whether it's, you know, family, nephews, nieces, kids in the future.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can really look back on, you know, really the receipts, right? Receipts of God's faithfulness.
Yes.
And so that's pretty.
And that's so needed.
It is.
It's so needed, because you run into seasons and you start getting lost in the season. You're like, okay, what's going on? It's not looking like how I expected. Or, okay, God, sometimes you forget, and that's why we have to be reminded. We have to remind ourselves. And so journaling is something that is something like, it's a huge reflection for me, because I always look back and I'm reminded of his hand. I'm reminded of his faithfulness over this calling over my life. So
yes. And earlier you mentioned like you like to write journals and all that. Where do you think writing comes from? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I think I've always been an expressive person. I can remember like as a little girl having a diary and just writing. And I was so protective of my diary too, because, you know, I got sisters. They all want to be.
Y'all ain't gonna touch my diary.
Like, no. So I remember writing young, and just as a way of expression. I have a lot to express, or or sometimes there's so much in me that I can't articulate that I may just find it in writing. So that's kind of how I found that to be a thing for me.
Yeah, in our conversation the other week, I was like, do you see yourself like maybe like writing in the future, scripts and all that? You're like, I love to write. And then you mentioned like your mother, right? As far as some of the inspiration that comes, or maybe just honestly gifts that were passed down from your mom. How has it been for you in your journey, witnessing her and her actual journey, as far as either being encouraged or being inspired by? Speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, so inspired. So inspired. My mom is a huge writer too, because I remember like searching for journals or searching for like notebooks to write in the house, and like I'll come across her old notebooks, and it would be like blank pages, but like there will be pages full of her writing. Like she's always been like trying to figure something out, like figure out a plan, develop a plan, like figuring out legacy. Like I would see her writings and everything. So that alone inspired me too. But watching her chase after her dreams even now, because she's a like technically an empty nester now. All her children are grown, but now she's taking back control over her life and not just like allowing life to happen. She's designing her destiny. And that is so inspiring, you know, her where she is now with launching her new firm, you know, for injury and support victims, with her experience and just kind of seeing her align herself in this kind of purpose. When I've watched her try to do business endeavors and entrepreneurship in many different areas and it not come all the way to fruition, and now seeing her still at it, like still keeping, you know, that same drive, you know, years later. And it's like, that's inspiring. And I'm so supportive of her. Yes. I'm so happy for her. She has no idea how inspiring she truly is to her daughters. Like, she's still at it. She has a growth mindset, and she doesn't allow, you know, circumstances or seasons to keep her. Like, she's after it all.
Shout out to mama.
Shout out to mama.
Shout out to mama.
And I think she passed those down to her daughters too. Like, that same drive and that same tenacity, like to want more out of life.
I think it's necessary. You know, breaking into, you know, film and even taking up like your very first like movie feature, right? You already witnessed your mother, like you said, stay persistent, keep having reps, keep having that vision that she's aiming for.
Yeah.
So how is that, you know, taking all of what you were inspired into when that first opportunity came up? Let's talk a little bit about the movie that is currently on Amazon Prime. Right? Is it Twisted Hearts?
Twisted Hearts.
Give us the backstory on how that project came about.
Wow, Twisted Hearts is always going to be special to me because it was my first lead role, my first big, honestly, my acting debut, honestly. So that movie and that opportunity came about, which is crazy. So I finished Expo fall of 2023. And I didn't get signed right away. I didn't get booked right away. I was in this season where it's like, okay, all the tools that I picked up from preparing for Expo, I need to keep at it. And so I didn't just like fall back and sit down. I utilized my connections, found an acting coach. She wasn't teaching acting at the time, but she was hosting little actors workshops where you just finding out the business side of acting. She's just kind of breaking it down, how to use Actors Access, all these sites, and how to prepare your portfolio, what they look for. So we're on the business side of it, right?
Yeah.
So God is so good. He's so intentional. So I was like, I was showing up to her workshops because I was like, I just need to stay in it. Like, I've been in workshops the last 6 months. Now that Expo is over, I can't stop. So I'm continuing to show up, continuing to invest. And she was all like, yeah, I'm about to start hosting actual acting classes where we break down scenes and we go over scripts and we, you know, really dive into what acting truly is. Wow. I was like, I'm all for it. Like, you've already helped me so much. Like, I'm already all for it. And this is, I got taped. Shout out to Destiny. Okay. Hey. So when she started hosting her classes, I was showing up. It was at Coda Films. And this is the same production company that produced Twisted Hearts.
Wow.
So I'm just focused on my work, focused on my craft, not really like searching for opportunities, not really like trying to capitalize. Like I said, it's all about just becoming and working that, you know, craft. And so I would say I was going to class for 6 months and I was reaching a burnout. I was like, okay, man, I've been going to class, you know, every month, you know, it's expensive. I'm reaching a time where I just like, I got other priorities. Like, I might about to put my foot up off the gas. Right. And, it was that moment where I got a call for an audition, and it was for Twisted Hearts. So Curshion, Q and Coda, shout out to Q and Coda. I got a lot of people to shout out.
Yeah, we shouting them all out.
We shouting them all out. But shout out to Q and Coda. Curshion, he had seen me in class, and he had this opportunity for me. He was like, hey, I want you to audition for this role. And this is right when I was about to like take a break from acting class. And we had never studied group scene before. We only did like 2-person scene monologues and stuff like that. And obviously auditioning for a role for a movie, I'm going to be in group scenes. So I was like, this is perfect timing. So right when I'm about to like kind of give up a little bit, because I have been through so much, like just with my car, so many things coming against me, like that could have prevented me from going to class, and I still showed up. I was reaching a breaking point.
Yeah.
But it was in this breaking point that God was all like, no, now it's time to really put the foot on the gas. So I went to class for that next month, auditioned for the role, got the role. Man, and I had no idea what Twisted Hearts was going to be.
Right.
I had no idea that the movie was going to eventually go to theaters, eventually be on Amazon Prime.
Wow.
Shot at the quality it was shot at. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at it like, wow, okay, I got an audition for a role, and the role was so fitting. The role was so fitting to just like the essence of who I am.
It was very natural.
Very natural. Mm-hmm. And so when I had read the script, I was like, there's no way that this is so fitting to me. Mm-hmm. Like, I felt like it was crafted specifically for me.
Yeah, I saw some Peacemaker in there. I saw some, counselor in there.
Yeah.
I saw like just different aspects, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like it was really just God's timing and his alignment, and that was a God opportunity for me too. So I got the role. And
where did y'all shoot that?
We shot in one location in Burleson, Texas, at this huge mansion. It was really fun working with all the amazing actors, Jay Reeves, Leland, Coco Brown, everybody. Yeah. So it was
Burleson. It's a small town Texas. I was like, I'm like, what?
You don't believe some of the locations like that's actually being filmed like right under our noses.
I believe it. I think it was even like, I don't know if it's Louisiana, but I forget even like the movie Ryan Coogler recently released. It's like Louisiana, and then like even like shots of Wakanda. Like I thought it would be somewhere else. Like there's all kinds of places that you wouldn't even think of. Movies being about New York, but there's shots in Chicago. Like, oh, okay.
Exactly.
So I could believe it. And so you went through that process, you auditioned, you got the role, and going through it, what are some things you learned about yourself that now you look back and you're like, man, I went through that, but what did it teach you about you at all?
The role itself or the experience?
Yeah, the experience of going through. Yeah, so you got the booking, right? You're learning, you're meeting the cast, you're reading now, right? You're on set. And so looking back, you watched the film fully at this point. So is there anything that you kind of glean from this process now? Like from start to finish, what do you glean from now about you?
That I'm meant to be in this space. A confidence. Okay. For sure. A confidence of knowing like I'm meant to be in this space. I'm meant to learn in this space. I'm meant to take up space in film. However God sees fit. But that's what I glean from that experience is that I got something here, this isn't a coincidence. This wasn't just given to me. Like I had to work for it. I had to show up. But I'm meant to be here. Yes. And so that's what I definitely gleaned from that experience. And it taught me so much. Like looking back, there were some things that, now it's teaching me, just non-negotiables. Like, now develop like what, whenever you're looking at a script and what you feel like you can bring to the craft, because it's an art in your own way too. You don't have to just, lean towards what the script, conform to what the script is saying. How can you develop it into your own craft? Right. So I think I learned that as well. But yeah, it was an amazing experience for me, and just kind of keep my foot on the ground and keep going. Yeah. I think, again, like we said earlier, the genesis is the beginning of any process. It's going to come with its, rough edges and its underdeveloped moments, just like in a photo room, right? Lightroom. It might seem dark. It might seem obscure. It might be a little bit, questions need to be answered. And all of a sudden, with light, with time, with development, you see this beautiful mural, beautiful picture, beautiful outcome. And so I think that's exactly what came with that movie. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Anything that you would say for anyone who maybe is working a full-time job, they're maybe managing their day-to-day, but they have these aspirations to be an actor, to be a model, to go into the arts, but they manage the day-to-day. Talk to us about what people don't know about managing your day-to-day, but still being pursuing your dream. Because some folks think you can just be full-time only, when a lot of the beginnings of any stages is both and. Yeah, like you still got to live. Both. You still got to take an opportunity. Yeah. Talk to us about kind of the behind the scenes of that aspect of still managing your own day-to-day, but being able to be mindful of pursuing your dreams. Man, I would say it's super layered. like with just life itself, working a full-time job, the weight of, you know, the responsibility of acting and like auditioning in that process, and like still leveling up the craft, leveling up my portfolio, making sure that I'm still investing. I think the key is just to not make any excuses. Like, don't make excuses. Like, don't say that you can't, because you can, and just really rely on God for the strength to get through, because he will grace you for whatever, you know, that you're pursuing. And so I think it's just, I don't make any excuses for myself. Like, I don't, because I've already come so far. Yeah. Right. And I know that this isn't just where he's going to leave me. So it's like, my responsibility is to keep going, right? And keep investing and keep showing up. You do get tired. Like, I do get, you know, overwhelmed, but I implement, you know, different practices for myself. Like, when I get overwhelmed, you know, I go inward. You know, sometimes it's lonely. You know, I isolate a little bit, you know, lean on God.
Navigate that. And that's real. I think someone definitely needs to hear that, you know, navigating, I won't say stardom, but just the tensions and growing pains.
Oh my gosh.
Of the day to day. It
Yes.
can be very heavy. It can be very
so heavy.
weighty.
It's so weighty, especially when I feel like I found the process, I found the recipe to success in a way. Because after Expo and like putting my, you know, hands to work and like, okay, boom, it was a recipe, putting myself in a different environment, investing into my craft, showing up to these spaces, networking, all this, there's a recipe here, right? So I was like, okay, God, like, okay, this is when I seen you move. So what do I need to do in this season to make sure that you move again? But no, God was telling me that I'm going to move when he's going to move when he does. And in this season, I have to lean on, okay, what do I need to do with this season that I have? Like, how can I steward this best? Because they look different. You know, like, you can go from a booking season to a slow season where you're still auditioning, but you're not seeing anything come back in return. And that could be very discouraging. It could be discouraging to see or feel like you're putting in so much work and not getting anything back. But you have to understand that you're not planting in vain, and you're not planting for no reason. Yeah. That things that you are working towards and the things that you are investing towards, you will see a harvest. It's just that we plant the seeds, but God makes it grow. And so I think that I was going through a season recently where I was like, okay, January came in hot. I had bookings lined up.
Come on.
February, see some more. March, see some more. I was like, okay, guys, this is going to be a 12-month thing, 12-month period where we see a booking every month.
Right. And this ain't for free. So.
You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay. So that was my desire. But then we get to a month where you're just auditioning and you don't see a booking. And so I was like, okay, that's not what I expected. What we doing, guy?
Right. This different.
This
ain't what we agreed on.
But that's when God started to highlight other areas of my life. Like, even with my full-time job, I'm still needed there. I'm still serving there. And it's still all weaving together somehow, some way.
Yes.
Where he has me with my full-time job is still weaving together. Whatever he's building in me there is going to be used for acting and modeling too. Like, I have to trust that. I have to trust that this is all working together for my good, and that I'm going to keep showing up and doing what is necessary.
Absolutely.
That's what I told myself, like, at the beginning of 2023, when I had this plan and I was like, you know, okay, boom, Expo, get signed. What is it that I need to do? And it was keep showing up and doing what's necessary, and God will lead you to the table that he has prepared for you. And
speaking of that table, I think that scripture, as another scripture also says that he will prepare a table before the presence of your enemies. And going into an industry where, let's be honest, there's a lot of tables being prepared.
Absolutely.
A lot of opportunities come up. And so taking on the beginnings of a journey that sometimes end in tragedy for some, right? Whether it's their own character being assassinated, or their own, being canceled, or their own, all the different headwinds and different hurdles that come when you go down this path, right? Not compromising. What will I do? What will I want? What won't what I do? Yeah. And then also, like, dating space, right? And becoming more notable. And then you got to filter through, okay, is this person really interested in me, or are they interested in the life? So as you look ahead, what are some of the things that, you've kind of thought about, maybe back burner, like, I'm curious how this would impact my lifestyle, whether it's the dating aspect, or just how you see some of your other peers navigate the industry? What are some things that maybe you thought about coming up ahead in the future?
Honestly, I just rely on my discernment and just kind of continue to rely on God to give me the eyes to see and the ears to hear. And I feel like in this, as I'm growing spiritually and as I'm growing, in this industry, there's an alignment here, right? And so I think I rely on that help to also see through certain things. Like, I'm a very genuine person. Like, I can tell when, people come around and it's not, genuine, but I'm super kind and super nice, to everybody. But there's very few people that are in my close circle. Like, I don't just allow everybody into my space. Like, it's weird that I'm known, but don't nobody really know me. So there's levels to closeness and proximity. And so I think with that is a protection. And as I'm growing and as I'm navigating that, I'll be able to see through certain things. Obviously, experience is a great teacher. Some things you won't know until you experience it. But I think with this industry, I'm covered. I declare that I'm covered.
Absolutely.
Every room, every opportunity, because I always have been. I'm in it, but I'm not of it. So, I think with that, it's my confidence in him. It's the foundation of everything.
Come on, look. And
look,
that part,
of everything.
At that part, I'm covered. And I think that's where we really want to drop a pin right there, the I'm covered aspect, because where faith comes in when it comes to film, right? Where faith comes in when navigating film, it's huge. And a lot of folks, you don't realize that they have some type of faith until they get to the mountaintop. And it's like, oh my gosh, like we recently saw Denzel Washington become a ordained minister, and he's being more blatant about his own faith. But clearly he's Denzel Washington, like the best that has ever done it, arguably. And so the faith aspect is very huge.
It's so huge.
And speaking of faith, right? Because it takes faith to be in any industry that is predominantly can be very intimidating just for the everyday, woman, let alone believer, right?
Yeah. And
so talk to me about the faith it takes to navigate stardom a little bit, but also like the dating space. Because let's be honest, right? I imagine them DMs are plentiful, right? I imagine that you have to navigate, someone trying to get at me or, and so talk to me about just your own process of when you've navigated dating, and then like as you've matured as a woman as well, and like what you will put up with, what you won't put up. Like talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I would definitely say my dating experience has gotten better, because I've become more selective and just kind of more protective over my time, energy, and space. With the other demands, with what I have going on, the peace that I need and the time and energy that it requires, I can't just give that away to anybody, So it's just growing more maturely and recognizing the value that I carry has helped shape also a better dating experience for me too, because it's a lot more selective. And I'm not dating a lot, but I've dated a few. And it's gotten better as far as the quality of guys that I've experienced.
So you got to tell us about, you ain't got to drop no names, but a dating experience, compare and contrast a more recent or more past dating experience that wasn't like, okay, I get it, but like, ain't no date number 2.
Absolutely.
And then one that was more like maybe your speed or like what you actually like, okay, I could rock.
I mean, so compare and contrast, like comparing to what was before, it's just the bare minimum, just kind of surface level kind of things like conversations, interactions, and not really just pulling back the layers of anything and really getting to know people.
Meaningful conversation.
Meaningful, right? As to now, it's just taking your time, like taking my time of getting to know someone. Like, can I trust this person to be close to me? Like, I feel like with working in hospitality, I mastered the way of like connecting with people without connecting with people, right? Like, knowing how to make people feel welcome, inviting, and seeing them and, acknowledging them, but also still keeping parts of me. Yeah. And so I feel like I've learned that, and also in dating, and just kind of taking my time, pulling back those layers and getting to know people. I think people are like, in this dating pool, people don't like the word like friendship. But I think that's the foundation and key to all good relationships. It's like, can we be friends? Can I be your friend? Can I get to know who you are? Can you get to know who I am, and not just like what I do or anything? I don't really necessarily like,
that's good,
stand on guard as far as like my profession and like with modeling and acting. Like, I'm a very grounded individual. Like, I don't look at myself and say like, oh, I'm this big model, I'm this big actor, like they're probably gonna look at me. You know, I am kind of like wonder what they would think about this, because not everybody is in it, you know. Right. But I'm pretty kind of level and chill.
Even kill, yeah.
So it's not something that's like a thing that I kind of shy away from.
Yeah, I think as you have clearly like just grown as an individual, you know, have more life experiences. You've had, you know, in the dating space, right? Seeing the different type of individuals, being in hospitality, letting people show yourselves who they are, right? Like in the hospitality space, if you make a person feel like they're like the most, you know, special or the most, they really will show you like who they are. Are they taking kindness for weakness? Are they being very like brash or rude? Absolutely. Are they really showing their true colors? And so I can imagine, like, I got bros and little sisters like yourself in the dating space, right? Being married, going on what, like 7 years, me and Nicole, like, man, I'm praying for everybody, right?
Man, pray for everybody
out
for us
in the streets.
Here, man.
But I think, I mean, to your point of, you know, having meaningful conversations, investing in the well of friendship, that is something that even we had to be very mindful of. Like me and my wife, we were cool for like a year or so, even before we actually started dating. Right. But even then, we had to get to know each other outside of the proximity of where we initially met.
Right.
And so we had to give ourselves permission to really be vulnerable enough to give access to understand, but we also have enough discretion to not like give you too much. Right. So yeah, I think that's super important. So I think that's really cool. Are there any advices you would have to, let's say, your, I don't know, 18-year-old self, right? Go back to maybe when you were 17 or 18. If there's anything you can kind of tell Mashayla or encourage her of in light of everything in front of her, even to now, as far as maybe doubts that she might have had, and as far as unknowns, what are some encouraging words or just insight you would give your 18-year-old self?
Man, it's like, it's easier said than done. But I would tell her to, don't be afraid to let go. Like, don't be afraid to let go of things you know you should let go of. Don't be afraid of the unknown of what, you know, your life may look like whenever you do let go of certain things. Invest into yourself. Take yourself seriously. You know, treasure your time. Treasure your, you know, what you give your time to. Just be more intentional. Facts. Be more intentional. Those are the words I would say to her.
Yeah. And that's good, because I think there's a maturity that comes with realizing the decisions we make truly do hold weight.
Oh my God.
And the decisions we make do determine our future, our destiny. I don't know what I was watching or if I was at something live, but the communicator was like, if you look at your life, where you are today, you are the sum total of the decisions you've made.
Absolutely.
And he was trying to highlight the part we do take ownership of, because oftentimes we can be distracted by the things that have happened to us,
right?
The families we were born into,
right?
The dysfunction,
circumstances,
right? The trauma, the damage that's been done, all the things we experience that happen to us. Sometimes seek to sift out the ability to have influence, or the accountability factor, or really the ownership factor of my whole life. Like, part of, you know, things I can't control. And I always say this to my clients, because I also counsel in my role. I tell them all the time, I say, listen, I know you're concerned right now, but the things that you can't control always are trying to compete for the things and the attention that you can control.
Right.
If you mess around and focus on what you can't control, you will paralyze yourself and disable yourself to manage what you can control. So it's this whole tug of war of what's taking my attention, and then what's holding my affection. Like, what am I focused on? What am I devoted to?
Right.
In light of these things always coming at me, and I'm being bombarded constantly with these thoughts. I remember a conversation we had before this. You were talking about a job you had, or a place you were at before the company you're at now, and always kind of like seems like you were hitting a wall.
Yeah.
Whenever like opportunities would come up in pursuits.
Right.
And talk to me about that time frame. What was going on?
Oh my gosh.
And then what you learned from it.
Yes. So that was definitely a season where I went into this new opportunity, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was like, okay, new job, new pay, the best that I probably ever had. And it's working hospitality. It's something that I'm great at. It's something that I'm kind of passionate about because, I show up to work and I do well, right? And so I was very optimistic. And I think like 6 months in, I realized, just like the weight and the responsibility of the job itself, like it was so demanding. And I didn't have any work-life balance, like with what I had going on with modeling and acting and the job that I had. It was going to be a time where the schedules was going to conflict with what they were demanded from me versus what my other, aspects were in pursuit of me. I was like going to have to choose. And I was like wrestling with this tension of like, okay, should I like make some adjustments where I just like leave this job, because there was some opportunities that came up where I shared with them, hey, I have this going on, and they were not in full support of that.
Hold up. So you hit some walls. You're like, hey, y'all.
Yeah.
Decided to let you know I got this. I'm gonna have to schedule off here. And what was their response when you shared?
They were like, when you're here, you need to be here. Everything else needs to be worked around this job. And so it was when those little things that I was like coming up and I was like, this doesn't feel right to me because, I'm developing, I'm growing in this area. Why should I have to choose one or the other? Because I was going to have to sacrifice. If I were to stay at that place, it was going to sacrifice or hold or put a halt on my progression with modeling and acting versus, developing a career with this job. Right. And I had just got signed. I was getting auditions and I was like, I'm signed with the agency now. Like I can't even play around. Like I need to show up and I need to put my foot on the ground and like make sure that I'm doing what I need to do about it 100%. And so I knew that I was going to choose that over this. And so time went on, wrestling with this tension, still showing up to work. Some things happened to where, I had an old employer, an old GM from a property that I worked with 2 years ago. Prior to this, he had reached out to me saying, hey, Mashayla, like, I have this new opportunity that just came up. I know that you're working at, where you are now and things are good, but I just want to let you know that I would love to have you here because we need someone like you. And I was kind of entertaining it. And I was just like, I'm good where I'm at because it was a decrease in a lot of areas. And so I was like, you know what? I'm holding on to my pride a little bit like, nah, but thank you though. But I still kind of kept him in my back pocket because, relationships, right? Like he was a great GM when I worked for him like years prior. And so I kept him in my back pocket. Things are starting to unfold and unravel with the job I'm working at now. And we resulted into me leaving. And that is a whole another testimony and story in itself because God really graced and covered me right into a different position with the job that I had in the back pocket. And with that, now with that decrease, because this was definitely a holy moment too, because the tension that I was feeling and I was skating the option of staying or going, God was like, if you decrease so I can increase in these other areas of your life, you will see like my faithfulness. And so I just decided to follow his character, follow integrity, and just show up and tell them like, hey, this is what's going on and this is the decisions that needs to be made. And so I walked out of that one and walked right into another opportunity. And it was the biggest blessing that I could have ever received because if I were still there, I wouldn't be half this far in my acting and modeling.
And the fact that you were consistent enough, credible enough, you were professional enough to be thought of in another time frame and say, hey, I need her here.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of folks, a lot of us are guilty in different time frames who are so excited for certain opportunities or certain pursuits that we initially will tell ourselves, I'm so over this where I'm at. I'm so, you get mentally fatigued of being in this pursuit and like, well, I feel like I'm in a state of transition. So some people will misinterpret fatigue and frustration as they should be in transition, but it's not. I feel like these are pain points. Like I used to play sports, and so whenever we do weight training, there's reps you would do, and when you get to what they call failure and burnout, you're going until you can't go anymore.
Right.
But it's designed to help you break through different pain points and different milestones.
So good.
So for some people, they get to rep 5 or rep 6, and they're like, well,
I can't do it.
I mean, I probably should just go to this other exercise and start working legs because, you know, these arms are done.
Right.
Not realizing if you just push one more rep and get to 7, when you reach fatigue, you've now told your body, hey, this is the new level we are going to be operating.
Ooh,
at.
I have something for
this
that.
This is the new level. Please, yeah, but
Man,
yeah. So,
because it was in that wrestle that God was developing my dependency on him.
wow, yeah.
So the same way there's like, okay, pushing past and getting those reps and getting into the point, I feel like it was in that wrestle, in that tension of like that doubt or that, you know, which way should I go? Like, God, you see you're moving here, but I'm here and you see what's going on here. And just like, and then boom, he gives you an opportunity to follow him.
Yes.
If you're aware enough, if your ears are open, if you like are just spiritually aware enough to what's happening. And the way that I navigated out of that season into the next was solely based on following his principles. Because he gave me the opportunity to follow his principles through something that happened that looked like it was against me, an attack.
Right.
But really it was the stepping stone of my next
Your
season.
next. Yep. And that's what it looks like. Sometimes it looks like things that are working against us.
Oh my gosh.
Setbacks are set ups, as some would say.
Man,
And
that's
so,
exactly what it
literally,
was.
like, you know, you get into a new space, you're like, it almost seems, I won't say too good to be true.
Oh my
But it's like, okay, I'm going to tell them I got this going on. There's no way they're going to say, okay. And then you tell them, you're like, okay, got you. Like, they're fine. Like, what? And so while on one end, you might think, okay, you know, if it's, you know, time, if it's energy, if it's requirements of the job or compensation adjustments, you'll be thinking all these like tangible factors that work against you, not realizing it's all the intangibles that God is using to complement.
Oh my gosh,
right?
because you're speaking to my life right now because that is exactly where I am. Because going from a job who didn't see the value in what I'm doing outside or didn't really care for what was going on with my acting and modeling to working for someone who values that. Mashayla, you got an audition to do? Fine, that's fine. Like, I have flexibility. I have work-life balance. I can do a setup audition on property. Like, he's all for it. He's so supportive.
Come on.
And so it was, I might have decreased in salary, but he's increased in my bookings because
that's another salary.
That's another salary. You know what I'm saying? So even with me leaving, I've already doubled up. You know what I'm saying? And so just, man, following him.
Yes.
Following him. It may not look like what you think you want or think you know, desire, because I still went through a very uncomfortable season navigating a new property, you know, coming in as a leader, you know, cultivating, you know, relationships with the staff and stuff like that, you know, being young, doing that, smaller brand, you know, it was like, okay, this ain't for me. I'm ready to go.
Right.
But I stuck through it. And where I am now, it's like almost too good to be true. It's almost too good to be true. The flexibility that I have, the leeway that I have to be able to still do what I do, like, and show up in these spaces. That's how I know, like, this is intentional.
Yes. God's setting the red carpet out for you.
Man, literally. He is.
He's
I wouldn't want it no other way.
Listen, and I think, you know, when you get to a point where you can no longer be over obsessed with a lot of the outcomes and the opportunities, but you really are so entrenched in the transformation process God has for you, right? The maturity, the insight, like you said, discernment, you know, fellowship, friendship,
right,
family. You start to really get oriented on what matters most.
Absolutely.
You really do. And it allows you to, like you said earlier, indirectly insulate yourself against folks who don't value what you value. So instead of you having to state on a date what's important to you, your lifestyle has spoken for you.
It's a reflection.
And literally, it'll qualify or disqualify someone.
It will qualify or disqualify.
Look, I used to tell my sisters, I used to put them up on game, right? I used to be like, all right, listen, if there's any dude, right, any ladies out there, if you're listening, but, and bros, look, hey,
come on,
we gotta level up. But if there's any guy who is talking to you, and I'm like, we're not in high school, right? So if like we're interested in each other, we're going on dates, XYZ, and then some time go by and there's nothing like no communication on exclusivity. There's no communication on, first of all, guys are not as dumb as some women think they are, but they're not as smart as, we're not as smart as we think we are. So as long as you allow things to be, guys are going to allow those things to ride.
Right.
And so I always tell them, I said, never let a man leave you in the gray. Never let him, the first time you feel a sense of disrespect, check that. You know, I'm not the perfect or the most optimal in my idea prototype man, but use my life even as a litmus test. Like how do I treat my siblings, you, my sisters, like being the only boy. How do I treat my wife? How do I treat our children? How do I navigate my own spaces in worlds that God has me in as well to take care of business, but then take ownership where I'm falling short. Use that as a litmus test. And so I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, when it comes to, you know, dating, navigating all that, you know, your standards have to remain your standards. At the same time, when I think the everyday woman might look at lifestyle or might look at things like, you know, a woman, you hear all these conversations online about, you know, if a woman has X amount of salary and he has X amount of salary, why does she have to settle on, and you get this hyper focus on tangible lifestyle, what we drive, where we're living, what we have in our bank account. And I don't hear no conversation about, but this person is healed. None. This person is whole. This person actually this person actually moved on that vision that they had 2-3 years ago. You don't really hear, you just hear lifestyle, financial success, and we don't hear about people's, you know, relationship, emotional endurance. We don't hear about people's maturity, conflict resolution. We don't hear about, those aren't the things that are conveyed when attracting someone. And so when you have a very surface level generation, many of us are bound to what we see with our eyes, and we don't investigate further. So a lot of like men and women are passing the eye test and also getting red flags dismissed because they passed the eye test. It's like a guy talking to a young lady who might be beautiful, right? But maybe they're not as mature. And so they allow that relationship or that connection or that situationship to continue to happen just because she's great to be with, great to be around, great to be in public with. Vice versa, a young lady might see a guy who is perceivably like fit, attractive, all the things, got a good head on the shoulders, all the things, but he has an issue with respecting her boundaries. But she still allows him to be around because he's checking so many boxes. However, this non-negotiable, he passes the eye test. So maybe if I XYZ, or maybe if I adjust this, he'll come around. Right? Not the case.
You can't be afraid to be alone.
Hold up. Ooh, hold up. Wait. You gotta say that again.
You cannot be afraid to be alone. My singleness is a gift, and it took some time, I would say, for me to realize that how precious it is. How precious it is to be single.
Talk about it.
Oh my gosh. When I think about getting a relationship, it almost scares me because I'm like, I gotta give up this, I gotta give up. You know, just like my solace, my solitude, like, you know, sharing that with someone, I gotta be ready. But and
you know that God has a type of man for you. Like
he does.
You know he would not prepare you and process you the way he has and then bring you right.
You know what I'm saying? I look at my life too, and I'm like, God, if you're intentional about every other area of my life, you got to be intentional about the relationship you're going to have me in, the man that you're going to bring into my life. That got to be.
Yeah, he'll be A1, fellas. You'll be A1. So talk to a little bit about, as we kind of like land the plane. What your desire for family, right? Your desire for the future, right? While you're still in this space, and acting. There's many who have done it, right? There's many doing it now. But what are your thoughts on not having to feel like you have to sacrifice your God-given dreams and visions while you still are, like you said, in it but not of it? Right.
There's no rush to success. Success is not even a destination.
Come on.
It's already here.
Come on. hey,
it's already here. It's already in me.
Wow.
It's just becoming. It's just evolving. It's just taking it season by season, learning, becoming more aware. And enjoying my life, loving my life, seeing my life through his lens, give myself grace because I'm not perfect. I may get it wrong sometimes, but it's just the process. It's the process. I'm enjoying the journey, finding joy in the journey. Instead of like, I need to get here, I need to get there, I need to do this. Like there's desires, there's ambition in me. There's things that I want to do and I wrestle with that. I wrestle well with God. I do. I wrestle with the weight of my calling and the weight of my purpose, what he wants for me versus what I want for myself, what I think I should do versus what he wants me to do. I wrestle. I really do. But I think that's all crafting something anyway. I feel like that's all part of the process of who he's building me out to be. And there's no rush to marriage and getting all these things and wanting all these things. Like it's going to come when it comes.
Matthew 6:33.
Seek ye first.
Yep.
Seek ye first in all things. And just standing on that word and standing on Jeremiah 29:11. He has the plans for me. And when I feel like I'm planning too much, it's like, okay, take the back seat, And so it's a balance. Like, I think that's life. And I'm not rushing to get to a certain level, get into a certain opportunity. Like, I want God's timing.
Above everything. And I think that's one of the biggest takeaways I get is, God's timing does not override our decisions, but they should complement and it should work together and couple with our decisions. Because as I have discernment and I'm aware of where I'm at, I'll know what's for me. I'll know what's not for me. Mm-hmm. I won't want what's not mine. Yeah. And but I'll start to grow a desire of what he's placed in for me. Like you said earlier, he said, what's me is for me. Yeah. Someone else got the part. Cool. Great. That wasn't for me. Yeah. Right. That's been very encouraging to hear you share that. As far as things that we don't know about Mashayla, let's say we didn't follow you on IG. Let's get into like, what are some of your favorite, some of your own favorite, I guess, food spots, and what's the last movie you watched?
The last movie I watched was probably the last movie everybody watched, was Straw.
Okay.
I watched Straw, Tyler Perry. It was a good movie. I feel like it was, it was good.
Hey, look, offline.
But things that, kind of make people like drop their jaw, like it's going to be talked about and everything. But it was a good movie. My favorite food spots, I like to eat everything.
She said, that's the problem.
That's the problem. But hibachi, like sake, there's one by my house. Like I love sake.
There's a hibachi spot right down the road, like 5 minutes away from here.
I go crazy for some hibachi.
Fire.
Okay. I love hibachi.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's probably my fave right now.
What would you say? I know you're in Dallas, but is there a dream city you'd like to live in? Clearly, you're in the industry. A lot of folks like flock to LA, but a lot of folks from Cali have come to Dallas. And I feel like there's kind of an emergence in film and even in the arts when it comes to Dallas specifically.
Yeah, we're growing.
Yeah.
Opportunities are about to start really fluctuating and presenting itself. Like they're funding Texas right now for films. And so we're about to see some changes.
Yes, for sure.
I'm in the right space. I'm in the right place.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think Dallas is a secret weapon hotbed of like talent and opportunity and a lot of industries. So I'm excited for where we're headed.
Yeah.
But before we wrap, talk to me about navigating prophetic gifts and calling, even from a little one, right, in the household growing up, your mom speaking over y'all, your dad speaking over y'all. What's it been like to wrestle now that you realize and more taking ownership of what some of these gifts are? And yet you still have to deal with the day-to-day reality, right? We have these moments where we're up and we're like, oh my gosh, things are clear. I'm hearing good. I'm even seeing, I'm speaking over things. And then I still got to like be in the mundane in the day-to-day. What's that like?
That...
Because it'd be a struggle, boy.
It is a struggle. It's a struggle. And, whenever you're passionate about something and you start to become more aware of what you're talented and you're gifted at, there's so many things you can do, so many ways you can go about it. Especially now that I'm developing more, of a platform, establishing a career, a portfolio, a resume, as it's like, okay, what else can I do with it? How can I capitalize off this? How can I make sure that I don't miss the moments? And, there's this balance between, okay, there's work that I need to do, but there's also work that God is already doing.
So I'm still trying to gather my thoughts. There's work that I need to do, but then there's work that God's already doing.
Yes.
How'd you get there? Like, how'd you land there?
Wrestling with the weight of, just the awareness of who I'm becoming and what he's doing in me and through my life. Just wanting to be great, wanting to be successful, wanting to stretch in multiple areas, not just one, not just in acting, not just in modeling. I have a gift of speaking, hospitality, like how God, trying to figure out how is this all weaving together. Right. And I think that came about when I get into these like moments where I'm like hearing clearly and I'm like, boom, plan, organizing, content creating. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And then I hit a brick wall with it. Yeah. And I get frustrated and I'm like, I'm just trying to make something out of what you've given me. I'm trying to just do more with what you've given me. And that grace of there's a work art that he's already doing. That's the grace of it. The work that we need to do is, yes, we should be striving. We should be finding new ways. We should be being creative and creating and showing up to spaces and, using our experiences to shape what we need to be doing now. There's a responsibility there.
Right. For sure.
But whenever you get to a tough spot where it's like, it's just not making any sense.
Yep.
That's when you lean on him and you say, okay, there's work that you're doing. There's work that you're doing that I can't see. And that's that grace. So it's a balance of that grace. And so
I was going to say,
I lean on that.
Yeah. To lean on that, also to be aware of what you're being obedient to. Yeah. Because I feel like obedience is very underestimated. Oh yeah. It's very underrated. And I had a conversation with a bro some time ago and he was like, just complimenting and speaking to like decisions we've made and decisions I've made throughout my like life and all that here recently. And I'm like, bro, look, obedience looks expensive. The results and the fruits of obedience will literally look very, very expensive. Yeah. But it's nothing that you really had to pay for. The only price you paid was your yes. And doesn't mean you doubted on the way to that yes. It doesn't mean you like went back and forth.
You could have sacrificed on the way to that yes too.
Yeah.
Let go of some things on the way to that yes.
Yes, you could. And oftentimes do in order to fully embrace that yes. Right. It's an exchange. You kind of have to. And so I think one of the things you just hit on, right, is being very aware of what he's telling you to do, right? Because when you do have that content creation moment, or you do have that inspiration and you act on it, and you're like, did I hit a brick wall? And not realizing maybe God is training your pace of obedience. Maybe he's interrupting momentum just to keep you dependent on him, right? Like I've been going. It's like, hold on. Let me introduce frustration. Let me introduce humility. Let me introduce patience. Yes. Because that keeps you connected. That keeps you with me. And so while you think you hit a brick wall, you really hit a gate. Ooh. That has an opportunity to open as a door, right? Like I'm just it's not a wall. It's a gate. And that obedience is the new code that opens that gate, gives you access to more and next. And I feel like many of us get so bombarded with trying to do, like do this, do that, do this. How can I do more? What do I need to be doing? What do I need to come back? And God is so invested on, like you said earlier, us becoming and us being. If we're focused on being, right? For example, if we're trying to, maximize the moments we're experiencing with our family and friends, well, be more present.
Be more present.
You'll get more out of the moment. Yeah. And you'll give more to the moment. Right. Right. If we're trying to be more healthy, you don't have to work out anymore. Be more mindful of what we're eating. Like, it's the being part that gives us access to actually doing, right? Like being more grows the capacity, and in that you'll be able to do more. Yes. Right? Be more, do less, right?
Exactly. And there was this video from Myron Golden.
My God. Shout out to Myron Golden.
Shout out to Myron Golden. He had this video of how to be successful. And he spoke on Matthew 6:33 when he was like, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all things will be added unto you. And he also was breaking down the be fruitful part and how you be, do, and have.
Be, do, have. Yeah.
Be, do, and have. Be more, do more, have more.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So that right there, it's like that being part is so key in like, it's like that dependency on him too. Like, cause that's ultimately, he cares more about who we're becoming than what we're having.
Yep.
So like this whole mindset, you know, in this perspective of what we're talking about, of just focusing on more becoming and transforming who you are becoming in the process and allowing these things to shape you instead of deter you and break you down and get you frustrated.
Yeah.
Just step on it, you know, and allow God to shape you. And so that is major key.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is. And ultimately, I mean, if there's anybody out there who maybe they're in a place where they're in a transition, right? Or they're in the face of desires and dreams God's given them, but they have to deal with the reality of the day to day. It might be somewhat obscure, it might be somewhat unknown.
Yeah.
But speak to those who might be in a place where like, I kind of see it, I'm still trying, but I'm really leaning in right now. I'm very discouraged, right?
Right. Yeah. Start small. Start small. You don't have to start big. You don't have to, you know, jump up and, you know, because, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, is what they say, right?
Facts.
So, like, don't, you know, look over small steps because those small steps lead somewhere.
That's momentum builders.
It's momentum builders. So start small. Start with what you have. What opportunities are in front of you that you're kind of overlooking because it's like, you're like, no, that's not big enough. Or no, that's not, you know, or that's too much. Sometimes it could be too much. Sometimes the investment's too high.
Come on, what's in your hands?
Invest into that class. Invest into that class. Because that class can teach you something and build something in you that's going to carry you to your next opportunity. And so I still show up and I still serve in my gifts. Like, yes, I have a movie and everything, but I still do free modeling work and free, you know, like I don't, you know.
You were recently on a runway a few weeks ago.
Yes, we have a show. We have a Juneteenth fashion show. It's a pretty big show actually at Legacy Food Hall. It's annual, so I'm a part of that show. But yeah, just kind of still showing up, serving in, you know, the gifts that you have, being in the room, man, booking the room just by your presence.
Yeah.
It's possible. That's been a testimony for me too. Like being in the room at a fashion show or being in a room serving and hosting or, you know, helping somebody, volunteering,
right.
And you see, you know, a designer may see you or your next opportunity may see you like, oh, you know, let me get your contact information. You know, you have a great look, you know, boom, months later, booked on a hair campaign.
Have you ever done any work with Jay Bolin?
I have. Technically, I walked in Woman Evolve.
Okay.
For his designs.
Okay.
So, and you know what's so crazy about Jay Bolin? He had this huge casting call back in like fall of 2023 or 2024.
Was he looking for like 2 individuals for modeling?
He was looking for some fresh faces, and I went to this casting call, right? Never met Jay Bolin in my life.
Okay.
Went to this casting call. I was the next model. It's 5 of us. We all go in front of the judges, and he see me. He was just like, I know you. He's just like, I've been seeing your work. Keep doing what you're doing. And I was like,
he's like, what?
I was like, because you never know who's watching. You never know who's watching. And so for him to recognize me out of all these faces that he's seen all day, I was like, okay, but he works close well with Cyndi too.
Yep.
But
Cyndi, boy, you everywhere.
I'm telling you.
You everywhere.
But yeah, he seen me. He was like, yeah, I know you. So months later, he had reached out to me directly to walk for him at Woman Evolve.
Wow.
He didn't even follow me. He was just like, I know somebody.
Right.
Boom. And then I think he like confirmed that I was who he was thinking of with Cyndi. And then he reached out to me and
right. Is this her? Okay, cool.
Right. And so, you know, just that showing up and being in those spaces, because I didn't even get called back from that casting call, but months later, he still remembered me and it still came fruit from it.
Look, I think the scripture says that your gift will make room for you.
Yes.
Bring you before great men.
Absolutely.
And it's like you being in that place, you could have interpreted that as being discouraged and that wasn't your time, not realizing that was a seed moment of exposure, that it would come back full circle for him to reach out to you do that walk for Women Evolve.
Right.
Had you not been there,
right,
there wouldn't have been a face to say, hey, I know this face.
Exactly.
It wouldn't have been a thing.
It wouldn't have been a thing.
Yeah. So, wow. I think that's so important and also not to have like pride or a chip. Like, imagine someone interprets that the wrong way.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't choose me then. I actually auditioned, but now they want to, imagine not having, stewarded that well.
Right.
What that could have ended up in.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen that with others, whether it's an acting gig or seeing, we don't have to say no names, but seeing how folks will treat, right, passed over opportunity, or maybe they weren't selected and like maybe they vent to you or heard.
Okay. I've heard how people respond to opportunities that were given to others that they probably didn't even necessarily know about. And I'm like, how'd that happen? And how did she get that?
Dang.
And it's like, you don't even know.
Yeah, you don't
even know like the process and procedure that go behind these kind of opportunities.
Right.
You don't need, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't ever look at anybody else's journey and compare, because God is doing something special for you in your life, developing you however he sees fit. And mine is different. Right.
I got a whole different walk.
I got a whole different walk. You know what I'm saying? And like, acting and modeling is now. This can transform and evolve. Like, I'm not married to a specific outcome. Like,
that's good.
Great. Kudos if I get a booking and I land on TV, Netflix, whatever. Amazing. But I'm not married to the outcome. Like, wherever this evolves into, like, I still know that it's going to be very purposeful and impactful and inspiring. Like, however God has it.
Yeah. Well, I think you're in the very beginnings, though, for sure. And it's been a great opportunity to get just a glimpse, right, a front row seat to this, just as a brother, just as one who's witnessing, right, God's hand on you,
Absolutely.
your process. We're
He's
encouraging you. We're praying for you as well, and just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And any I won't say knuckleheads, but any dudes out there, right, who you're like, hey man, look, possible, hey, go ahead, slide that info our way. We'll have the bros vetting them.
Water on that.
Yeah, we'll have the bros vetting them. Nah, but no, it's been a joy chopping it up with you, hanging out a little bit.
Thank you for having me.
And so I look forward to a part 2 in the future.
Yeah, and
hearing what all that's been happening in your journey. So it's been dope. It's been really dope.
Absolutely,
for sure. Yeah. So if you've enjoyed this episode of Perspective, if you've been encouraged, if you've been inspired, share this with someone, like it. Don't forget to subscribe. What things are you doing right now that's going to impact and help you change the world around you? I hope this episode was something that can bring you a step closer to that.
Pop out in it all black, pull up looking like the Chalo. All of y'all weak, if you need a 16, all you gotta do is hollow.